Welcome to Watching the Game. I'm your host, Idrees, joined today by Yunis and later on Odeh. Today is November 24th, and it is Thanksgiving week, which means college basketball starts this week too.
Woohoo!
But we'll get to that later. First of all, week 11, the NFL season finished. So we gotta talk about that. Sadly, Joe Burrow this weekend tore his ACL and his MCL out for the season. Hopefully he can be back beginning of next season, but that's just a big oof.
Yeah, major oof. Hopefully the Bengals organization learned that their offensive line is trash, and they need one for Joe Burrow.
I think the dude who got destroyed on the play where he tore his ACL's name is Michael Jordan, and I'm pretty convinced they only drafted him because his name is Michael Jordan, because he sucks. That's just how it is sometimes. But let's talk about some of the headlines from the weekend. First of all, what the hell is wrong with Carson Wentz? My man leads the NFL in interceptions, in fumbles.
He's just trying to do too much for his team. And another main part to that, he basically, I don't think he has trust in any of his players. He's just trying to do everything on the team.
It's kind of sad because even people are trying to say, he hasn't been the same since his knee injury. And that's just not true. Because he had 2 seasons after that injury. The first season he was fine. He wasn't great. He wasn't bad either. Last year he was pretty damn good, considering they had no receivers whatsoever. Half the running backs got hurt. They were playing, considering all the injuries last year, he was playing pretty well. And now this year, they've had most of the same. Sure, the O-line has gotten hurt too and the tight ends, but, that's just ridiculous.
Over and over again, we just see Wentz trying to make plays that just aren't his style. He's trying to do too much for his team.
He's always had that, thought process. He'll play like that. This year, it's just way worse. And part of it is, like I said, the O-line. They've had literally the only healthy player on the O-line was Kelsey. Then again, the pick 6 he threw on Sunday. Oof.
Oh, that was a poor throw.
I kind of feel bad to say it, but I had my Bears defense on a bye this week. I picked up the Browns defense. I had a feeling he was gonna keep playing like he did, and he did.
And just that game against the Browns, you see the poor conditions. It's gonna be a dirty game, weather-wise. So why pressure yourself and force yourself to make these throws when you could just keep it on the ground?
Yeah, that's another thing. Doug Peterson hasn't been the savior ever since they won the Super Bowl. Frank Reich, a lot of people are starting to think Frank Reich was the real brains behind their Super Bowl win. I'm wager to say that he played a much bigger part than we thought originally, but some of what Doug Peterson is doing is just ridiculous. Just not. I just don't understand it sometimes. And somehow
I mean,
this
hey,
team,
that's what you're gonna get in the NFC East or the NFC
3-6 and
least.
1, is winning their division. This is just not fair to. At least we're gonna have two AFC teams, and we're probably gonna have two AFC teams and one NFC team that finishes like above 500 but doesn't make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely.
And instead, we're gonna get. I'll wager, I guess, like a 6-10 Washington instead.
Yeah, you know who deserves that NFC East #1 seed? The football team. They have the best pass rush defense in the NFL.
That injured Joe Burrow douchebag. I'm kidding. It happens. Chase Young, though, before that happened, he destroyed Joe Burrow going at the goal line, knocked the ball loose.
Oh yeah, definitely. That
was part of
a vicious hit.
20-9 victory.
Another part of that is Burrow had the field open. He hesitated instead of going.
There was a safety driving, like absolutely breaking on him. I don't think so.
You remember the play? What the refs called it? They called it a fumble, and then
They tried to call it a
the
safety. I
defensive
was like,
player
that's
recovered.
ridiculous.
Yeah, the Bengals almost had another opportunity, but it got called back.
I do think Washington is the best team in this division, even though they lost to the Giants twice. It's like, I just think right now Alex Smith might be the best QB in the division. I'm not even.
How about after you saw Dallas's win over the Vikings? They got their defense kind of back in shape. They got Andy Dalton back. What do you think about that?
No. I don't trust Mike McCarthy at all. They won, 31-28? They probably, I mean, maybe. If they win this Thursday, Thanksgiving, if they win against Washington, then I'll be like,
I mean,
okay,
you look at their remaining schedule.
They have an
have
easy
Washington.
schedule except for Baltimore. Yeah, I know this.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe the Niners, but they need to beat the Niners if they want to be contenders.
I still just don't like any of these teams. None of them inspire any confidence. Actually, it is worth pointing out that they went above 500, I think, for the first time this year. Because only the Eagles lost, Cowboys and Washington won, and the Giants had their bye. So there's that, I guess.
I mean, whatever improvement you see from the NFC East should be taken.
I would guess I'll put my money on Washington to win the division right now.
And that would be a big underdog.
Like 6-10, I guess. Maybe 7-9. But no, 7-9 might be stretching. 6-10 though.
Yeah,
I can't
6
believe
and
this
10,
is
man.
a conversation. I hate this division so much. Why can't there just be a good team in this division? I don't understand.
Next year when Dak comes back.
Maybe. Alright, moving on. I cannot believe. I know everyone's already trying to hype him up. Even though he had one game against Atlanta. So calm yourselves. But Taysom Hill did have a good game the other day. But it was one game. So everyone can relax because, no, I still don't think he's anything.
I mean, if you look at what he produced, 18 completions for 233 yards. Found Michael Thomas a lot. He went over 100 yards receiving. He played it, I would say cautious, and I think that's what Sean Payton wanted him to, wanted him to play it.
He had
Be
a
cautious.
couple weird deep balls. Like he threw a couple of nice deep balls. Then he threw this other one where I swear
Yeah,
Emmanuel
to
Sanders
Emmanuel
had to run
Sanders.
10 yards back to catch it because it was really bad. So
Yeah, and I agree with you. You're playing a Falcons defense, which is not the best. So yeah, I could see your point.
that's pretty good nicely. I mean this was a game the Saints defense won. 8 sacks. The Falcons just are never able to block this team.
Hmm. Yeah, last time the Saints and the Falcons played, Cam Jordan recorded 4 sacks, and this time he records 3. Trey Hendrickson, man, one of the top 3 contenders for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I don't think he's a rookie. I think he's actually been in the league for a couple of years. Now that I think about it, it's just this is his
Yeah,
first.
I thought he was.
Nah, he was drafted in 2017. Yeah, but he's
Oh, I thought he
been
was a rookie.
mostly quiet. Honestly, I think they'd be fine letting him walk because I think he's good, but they drafted Marcus Davenport in 2018, and I think he's actually better. He's not getting as many sacks, but it's not always all about sacks. It's
Yeah,
about
you're right.
pressures, it's about winning your pass rushes, etc. That type of thing. What else was there?
Titans Ravens game.
Which game?
Take us through that last play.
Wait, which one did you say? I didn't hear.
Take us through the last play of the Titans Ravens game.
I am disappointed. That's what I would say about that. Ugh. I don't know how they let Derrick Henry do it to them again. The Ravens may be in a bit of trouble. First of all, okay, yeah. Derrick Henry, that was a great play. I want to say fantastic move, great cutout, beeline straight for the end zone, and they couldn't tackle him. Honestly, they were missing. I'm not worried about their defense that much. They were missing 2 of their better D linemen, and overall before that they had mostly contained the Titans, so I'm not too worried about that. Even the offense, they put up
And
24.
speaking of the Ravens, yeah, they're not just having trouble on the field, but even off the field. J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram tested positive for COVID yesterday, and it looks like they had to cancel practice today. So you think they'll be prepared for the Steelers?
I mean, you've seen that you don't really need practice to win. I mean, the Titans destroyed the Bills, and they weren't practicing at all. So I think they can. Honestly hope for their season's sake they can, because they've got an easy schedule. But dropping to 6-5 in a tight AFC wildcard race,
Yeah,
that would
isn't
be
gonna cut their
really
chase.
tough. I want to say I think they can go. I've went on ESPN's playoff machine because I'm just like that sometimes. I was so I did it for them, and I actually had them going. I think 11-5, making the playoffs still. So I think they still will get there. I'm not totally sold on the Titans, even though they just won this game. Like, I could totally see them as the type of team that would collapse down the stretch. But also, they've proven me wrong time and time again. So, I don't know if I can really say that. I still think they'll make the playoffs over the Raiders and one of the Titans or Browns. I think even the Dolphins
Probably be
maybe
the
can go over.
Browns.
I don't know, man. The Browns are pretty good, and they haven't even been playing with Baker playing that well yet. So
I mean, if you look at the Browns' schedule, they play the Titans and the Ravens and the Steelers as their hard games, you would say.
Hmm.
And they have the Jaguars, the Giants, and the Jets. I don't know. They could go 3-3.
Jaguars, Giants, Jets. See, that Jets game is annoying. They've got basically 3 guaranteed wins, 10-6. That should get you in. Obviously, we'll see. I think the Raiders have a little bit of a tough schedule. They also play the Jets, but they play like the Dolphins. I don't think they'll beat the Chargers this time. You know, that type of stuff. Speaking of the Raiders, that Sunday night game was something.
Yeah, that was a very well played Sunday night game from both teams.
At
Good up
least,
for the Raiders, though.
at least offensively. The Chiefs' defense is very hot and cold because they have a ton of talent. But week to week, you don't know what you're going to get. At the same
Yeah,
time,
man.
I think the only
All the
team.
commentators hype up Steve Spagnuolo on his defense, but I don't really see any production from them.
I mean, I think for the most part, it's like. For the most part, it's only the Raiders have really found whatever it is and exposed it. I don't know how many teams have actually scored like above 24 points on them. The Raiders twice.
Yeah, probably. The Raiders and the Panthers.
Interesting. Raiders, Panthers. Panthers is very interesting. Mm. I mean, the
They have
Raiders.
themselves.
No, the Raiders dropped to 6-4 now, but they're still just a hair ahead of the Ravens in the wild card race.
And the Chiefs defense have themselves a tough game against the Buccaneers this Sunday.
That'll be fun to see, won't it? I mean, I just want to say, Patrick Mahomes, though. Jeez.
Man's a beast.
But also, Jonathan Abram. This man talks so much crap and hasn't backed it up with his play at all. Like,
Oh, he
bro,
plays like Buda Baker. Aggressive and very electrically.
yeah, he plays aggressively, but that aggressiveness cost them the game the other day.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
The late hit out of
I'm just
bounds.
gonna come up, oh, Patrick Mahomes is probably gonna run, get 5 yards. No, I need to run up here and stop him. Oh no, I left the tight end wide open in the end zone. What am I doing? You're playing cover 4. The goal of cover 4 is not let me run up on the QB before he crosses the line of scrimmage. You're just trying to prevent a touchdown at that point. I don't know what he was doing. And I think this will start a collapse by the Raiders just like they had last year. That might be a
I mean,
little
yeah,
much,
the
but
defense needs to step up a bit. Their offense, as you said, is on point. Derek Carr is a pretty underrated quarterback.
if they could make
The
Nelson
last play of the
Aguilar
game,
play well again, they should trade for Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
well, that would be a nice trade. Derek Carr, just not including the last play of the game, which was just I don't know what he was trying to do there, but he played pretty good.
Really did. Everyone's saying like, oh, they should get rid of him at this point. I think he's finally returned to peak form 2016. Where he was actually an MVP candidate. So that's one thing the Raiders should feel good about.
Yeah, and I think part of that is because they have a run game now. Their offensive line is pretty good, so he has something to work with. His receiving core is probably the least effective on his team, but he finds a way to work with it. And give it up for Derek Carr's audibles, man. Have you heard them?
Yes, James Harden. Unfortunately, we were all expecting, something better. You gotta give me like a step back, deep pass at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, not a run
Yeah,
up
and
the gut.
physical feet as well.
It was kind of funny because the James Harden play was an ISO run. Give me those all day. The other two big games from the weekend. First, the Sunday late game. The Colts came back from down 28-14 and beat the Packers 34-31.
Right after Green Bay tweets. Marquez Valdez Scantling. MVS.
Man, he's gonna super giveth taketh away type of guy right there. I thought Aaron Rodgers wouldn't let him onto the bus after the game. No, I'm kidding. There was some stupid reporter who literally asked LaFleur, "Oh, how do you live with this guy?" That's not how it works, bro.
I know.
Like, you ask, how do you help a guy who's struggling like that? You don't ask, "Oh, bro, this dude sucks. Why you keep him playing him?" That's not how it works. I can't believe, honestly, the Packers didn't show up at all in the second half. And don't give me the, "Oh, Rodgers took them down the field." Yeah, sure he did. That's it. They did nothing else in the second half. Like, they did nothing. If you want to be technical, they barely did anything from the end of the first half, too. Because after they scored their third touchdown, the Colts marched down, they got a touchdown. And then the only reason the Packers scored a touchdown before the break was because they got a big 50-50 PI call.
Hey man, as a Bears fan, do you see any hope for the offense against this defense? Just try to be
Listen,
positive here.
man. If there is anything, then that means they finally changed things after the bye. Because I don't even know. I mean, the Packers' defense is bottom 10. Then again, they could barely do anything against the Titans' defense, against the Vikings' defense. Those defenses aren't the worst, but they're all probably bottom 10-ish. So, I say Trubisky's the healthy one at this point. You put him back there. Let's see what adjustments you made over the bye. And maybe we still have a playoff run in you. Until then, what you should do is not hold 100 times like the Colts did. But at the same time, you should keep pounding the ball like they did. Like, every once in a while, I saw Phillip Rivers drop back 3 straight times, and I'm just like, that's not what that's not what you should be doing at all. What you should be focusing on is what they were doing the rest of the game. Pounding the ball, play action, intermediate throws. That's how you easily dismantle the Packers defense.
Yeah, that's how they got their touchdown score in the first half to Michael Pittman.
That was a nice catch and run. So I've got.
Hey, you saw that sequence?
Which one?
The one where the Colts offensive line kept holding.
God help me. It was a meltdown. Part of it was, yeah, their holds, but the other part of it is you haven't been calling holds all season, but you just did it 5 times in a row. How does that work? That was ridiculous. And it almost cost them the game. Luckily, they won in overtime. I think
Do you think
I'm thinking the Colts are like the third best team in the AFC.
you have them behind the Chiefs and obviously the Steelers?
I mean, the Ravens, I would still, as much as they're struggling, I still believe in them. I would put them right below them, even though they actually beat the Colts earlier in the season. But it's close. And then you got a mixture of the Bills, Dolphins, Raiders, Titans, Browns. That's what I would think.
Interesting.
And then the last big game of the weekend, the Monday Nighter. Rams beat the Buccaneers 27-24. I would like an explanation for what how Tom Brady cannot this year. Okay, I've learned a few things this year. Bruce Arians is not very good at adapting his scheme for his QB.
Oh,
Tom
I
Brady
agree
is
100%.
not good throwing deep passes. As much as his receivers can be good for the deep ball, Tom Brady is not a deep ball throwing QB anymore. I don't think
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
agree.
him complete one deep pass against any of the good defenses he's played this year, like the Saints, the Bears, the Rams. They
It's just
don't.
not his style of game anymore.
They ran the ball well last week against the Panthers, and then they didn't run it this week at all.
That's also part to very good Rams rush defense.
And Brady's just he's not looking so hot, like I don't think this team is a Super Bowl contender right now. Right now I would put them below the Seahawks, below the Saints, below the Rams. I don't honestly it's tougher to
I
gauge
mean,
in the
hey,
NFC.
the Rams are the number one seed in the NFC West.
That's I mean, I still think the Seahawks will win that division. But yeah, because they beat the
Some people were
Seahawks earlier.
saying that it's just a curse for Brady on prime time this year.
Maybe. Well, they play Kansas City next week too.
But
So
it's not prime time, so that's for their hopes.
prime time, schmime time, whatever. Because I don't think they have a chance against the Chiefs next week. I mean, like, am I crazy or I really don't think they'll be able to beat the Chiefs
Oh,
next
you're
week.
not crazy. I agree with you. Mahomes is gonna dismantle that defense.
Arians doesn't somewhat adjust the scheme this week too. It's not going to be pretty. His two picks. I mean, Brady's two interceptions were really bad. Not to say Jared Goff also threw two really bad interceptions, but guess what? He still won. And then he didn't shake Jared Goff's hand. Sore loser. I don't know what's wrong with this guy.
I think it's just a grudge he has against the Super Bowl QBs he's faced.
Why though? He beat Jared Goff in the Super Bowl. Who cares about a freaking regular season game?
I don't know. That's just how the man is. I mean, for the Buccaneers, their only tough matchup is against the Chiefs. They have a pretty easy schedule with the Vikings, Falcons, Lions, and Falcons.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see what Tom Brady and the Buccaneers they can adapt to their situation, and if they can somehow secure a playoff spot.
They theoretically should be able to still, but you never know with these types of things. Quick rundown of the other games. Let's see. Like we said, the Cowboys beat the Vikings, so that snaps the Vikings winning streak. Maybe just the NFC North all sucks. The Dolphins lost to the Broncos and benched Tua, but they're still gonna start him. I think that move was fine because he wasn't playing well at all, and you can
The
always do
Jets,
that, you know.
the Jets almost make a comeback on the Chargers, but the Chargers don't choke this time.
Thank God. Panthers shut the Lions out 20-0. That was kind of sad.
DJ,
I'm working on something with my friend. Can you get out, please? I'm working on something with my friend. Hello. Yeah.
Texans, 27.
I thought JJ Watt came back this game. He was great.
Yeah, he had about 3 pass deflections. Came up big for the Texans D.
That was really big. Alright, moving on to our next segment. Tonight, the first college football playoff rankings come out. So, I think I'm going to give a shot at my rankings. First of all, I want to talk about that Ohio State-Indiana game was pretty fun. 42-35.
Oh yeah, that was very entertaining.
For a while, it looked like Ohio State might run away with it, but it ended up being pretty close.
Indiana almost made an amazing comeback. You feel like Justin Fields started to do things that just made him look pretty silly.
It was his worst game. It was his worst game, but let's be honest. He's just doing this so he falls to the Bears, right? You know, that's what we need right there.
That's what we need, but that's not what he wants.
Honestly, he has a little bit of Carson Wentz in him. Just a little bit, but not nearly as much. That's how he
Do you think Ty Fogel is the next Justin Jefferson?
I mean, I wouldn't really know about draft stock right now, but that man looks pretty damn good. He torched Shaun Wade. And Shaun Wade's a first-round prospect.
Yeah. He had a pick six that game as well.
I mean, otherwise he struggled. Pick six was good, but otherwise he played badly. Mike Penix, I kind of feel bad for Mike Penix because they have no run game whatsoever to help him. But he had to
throw the ball 51 times.
Exactly. It's like, oof. Help the guy out. I think Indiana has basically secured second place in the Big Ten East at this point.
Yeah, I don't see any other team contending after Penn State and Michigan's upsetting years.
Really bad. Couple of other key games. Northwestern beat Wisconsin 17-7. You know, that's just how it is. 5-0 Northwestern. Pretty good chance at making the playoff.
I mean, hey, they were ranked at number 5 from 19-5.
They could be. We'll see how much they move up. Wisconsin, people overhyped them because their backup QB had one good game, but he played Northwestern absolutely battered him the other day. The hype is unwarranted. And then,
Georgia finds their QB against Mississippi State. JT Daniels throwing for over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns.
I mean, I don't know what took them so long to start him, because they could have possibly still been in the playoff race, but you know, I assume he was still injured, but if he wasn't, they messed up badly. Oregon beat UCLA 38-35. Oregon, I don't know. UCLA was also missing their starting QB.
Yeah, they were.
So that wasn't good at all. They still should have the Pac-12 easily. Coastal Carolina beat Appalachian State 34-23. I would love for Coastal Carolina to somehow make the playoff because the Sun Belt has been very fun this year.
Yeah, it has. It'll probably be a long shot for them to make the playoffs, but we'll see what's gonna happen.
You never know, you know. Michigan beat Rutgers in triple overtime 48-42. That was fun.
Yeah, it was. And I
And
don't know. I feel like that's just how Michigan's games are gonna be this year. They're not gonna have complete
I
control.
think Joe Milton got benched too, and he got outplayed hard by their backup.
Yeah, what was his name?
Um, Cade McNamara, something like that. So I got rip the Joe Milton hype from October to November 2020. Big L. You know. And then lastly, you had Bedlam. What's it called? Bedlam was not competitive at all, unfortunately. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
unfortunately, the OSU got blown out by Oklahoma, 13-41.
I don't know why I expected them to actually compete because every year they lose.
It's just the Oklahoma State way. Cincinnati pulls out from UCF with a tight victory, 36-33. Do you think Cincinnati is going to end up making
So
the playoffs?
Cincinnati and BYU both won. So I've got belief in them. All right, time for college football playoff top 10. Since it's the first week they're doing it, Odeh finally came. So Odeh, your your college football playoff top 10 right now.
State.
Wait, actually,
Number one,
I
State.
can't.
Okay.
You can't hear him.
Number one, I'm going Ohio State.
All right,
You said
we're
Ohio
having
State.
tech
Wait, did you say
with one
Ohio
of
State number
our
one?
members.
Wait, hold
Yeah,
up.
yeah, Ohio State number one.
Why?
Yeah, Ohio State one is too far.
You guys don't like you guys don't like State number one.
No, it's not that we don't believe in them. It's just
Ah,
It's just they're not number one.
these are my rankings. Okay, we'll some judgment later. All right, so I got Ohio State number one, Alabama number two, Clemson number three, Notre Dame number four. All right, I gotta do a top 10.
sure. Yeah.
Give me Cincinnati number five, Florida number six. I'll put Indiana at number seven, just because I like the way they battled with Ohio State. BYU, Oregon, and Northwestern to fill out the rest of the top 10.
Interesting.
Expert analysis top 10.
I think that was interesting.
That wasn't bad.
I've got
Okay.
okay. I would say Notre Dame number one, Alabama number two, Ohio State number three, Clemson 4, Texas A&M 5, Florida 6, Cincinnati 7, Northwestern 8, BYU 9, and Oregon 10. You got Indiana, Miami right outside the top 10. Oklahoma maybe 2, but you know.
Well, interesting. My top 10 goes as follows. I have Alabama at 1, Notre Dame at 2, Ohio State at 3, Clemson at 4. At 5 is a tough one, but I'll probably go Texas A&M. At 6, I have Cincinnati, Florida, 8 with Western, 9 BYU, 10 Oregon.
I like that. I like that. You all got different number ones. That's pretty interesting. I put Notre Dame 1 because beating Clemson is probably the best win so far of the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's Alabama, you man. They're always gonna rank them, one or two.
Well, it doesn't have to be how you think they're gonna rank them. It's just how I think they would be, and I think that's just how I think it's gonna be. Odeh, why did you put Ohio State number 1?
I don't think Notre Dame is very good, and then I think Ohio State is just really good. You saw it against the win against Indiana, which was number 7. I put them at number 7 in my ranking. So therefore, they beat the number 7 team, and they looked pretty good doing it for the most part. And I'm not very big on. They're not very big on Notre Dame. I guess you could say I forgot about Alabama, but I don't know. But to me, I say for this week it'll probably be Ohio State at number 1, and then as Trevor Lawrence comes back and he starts to get more into a groove, then I think Clemson will slowly take back the number 1 spot.
Clemson has to win the ACC championship.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah. I think they will, but that's just how it is. I mean, Alabama, if they stay undefeated, obviously they'll get number 1. But
yeah, it's probably going to be a guarantee for Alabama.
But I don't know. I've got faith in Florida. You know what I mean? I've got some faith in them. Kyle Trask,
I think is the top runner for Heisman at the moment, since Trevor Lawrence has probably dropped back a few spots since COVID.
Right. So
and number
I would
1.
say the top 5 is Trevor Lawrence in no particular order. Lawrence, Fields, Trask, Wilson, Zach Wilson, and Najee Harris. I would say right now the front runner is Kyle Trask because he's been borderline unstoppable. I don't really think no one else. Kyle Trask has just been unstoppable. What do you think, Yunis?
I mean, yeah, at front runner, I see Kyle Trask leading it. I actually agree that Najee Harris is one of the top 5. I believe he's the best player on Alabama. I don't think Mac Jones is the best. I have Lawrence drop down 1 or 2 spots since he hasn't been playing the last 2 games for Clemson. And then Zach Wilson is probably at 4.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Odeh?
It's probably Fields for me. It's probably Fields, and then Florida's QB. That's Kylie Pitts, right? Or
Kyle Pitts, yeah.
Or Kyle Trask. No, Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask.
Kyle Trask.
Kylie Pitts is their tight end, right?
Yeah.
Get those two confused. No, Kylie Pitts. For me, it's either Kylie Pitts or Justin Fields.
Pitts was beasting, but then he got hurt, so So that's what I was thinking. All right. Let's move on to the last segment of the day. NBA free agency mostly wrapped up over the weekend. We got some trades, but for the most part, I think it was a pretty eventful weekend, Alright, who do you think? I think one of the winners of the offseason, draft, free agency trades, I
The
really like.
Lakers, the Lakers, the Lakers. It's the Lakers. You
Uh,
can't even like. For
I'm not.
me,
I
the
wasn't.
Lakers won far, far and beyond.
I wouldn't say far and beyond, but yes, they did upgrade.
Yeah, I agree. The Lakers probably the best winners. Signing Montrezl Harrell and a much
You
needed
gotta
point
think.
guard.
You gotta think, right? Okay, they're the defending champions, and they had to sit in a room and say, how do we get this roster better? Almost all their core players, like, or not their core players, like their contributing players, uh, Danny Green, Rondo, Dwight Howard. They're either all free agents or like they're getting older. So they had very to little assets because they used all their assets to get Anthony Davis, and they still found a way to sign the sixth man of the year, to get the trade for the runner up for the sixth man of the year, and they also signed Mark Gasol, right?
Yeah.
And Wesley Matthews.
Right. So that's yeah, and I forgot about Wes Matthews, still a very viable 3-and-D option in this league. So that's four great players bought in.
Yeah, even if they don't re-sign Anthony Davis, I feel like they're still the winners of the offseason.
Bro, what?
No, that's not how it
What are you
works.
saying?
Oh, ignoring Anthony Davis,
yeah,
like
bro.
ignoring his existence, you know?
First of all, you don't need to because we all know.
No, I'm just
You
assuming
guys
he's gonna
misunderstood
resign.
my point. You guys misunderstood my point,
I
though.
don't know. I don't think I did.
No, I think you did. I'm not. I obviously think Anthony Davis is going to be the best signee to whoever team signs him.
Okay, he's staying with the Lakers first of all, or he's coming to the Bulls. Maybe he's coming to the Bulls, guys. Okay, forget that. Yes, you're right. They upgraded from McGee to Gasol. We'll see about the switch from Howard to Harrell because Howard played a very specific role and Harrell can't play that role.
Not just Harrell, he's not gonna. The way I see it is they won't. It's what Doc Rivers tried to do is get Montrezl Harrell to close out games, but that's not Montrezl Harrell's like role. Like, that's not his purpose. Like that's not his purpose. So he'll probably play like 25 to 30 minutes, but he probably won't close out games. He'll probably have Marc Gasol closing out games at the 5, or they'll put AD at the 5 to close out games.
Yeah, I feel you. And then Wesley Matthews from Danny Green, much cheaper. That was a pretty nice move. And Schroeder, obviously, he might not be the facilitator Rondo is, but also it's not like Rondo plays very well in the regular season. And he's a much better scorer, so I like that move a lot. I like what the Lakers did. And then
Yeah, man, they went after a point guard, much needed position after they released Rondo. I think they got it in Schroeder.
And then I would say a lot of people were talking crap about the Clippers, and that was pretty fair because they did nothing for a fat minute. I mean, they were literally sitting doing nothing. They missed out on Rondo. They lost Harrell. They lost JaMychal Green. They kept Marcus Morris, but probably slightly overpaid him. But then I really liked getting Ibaka. That was a fantastic move. That might be the best signing of the year.
Would you guys say it's an upgrade over Harrell? I think it.
Oh, he
I
didn't
would
say it's
take
an upgrade.
Ibaka
It's
over
just
Harrell 100%.
upgrade, a complete upgrade.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, okay, maybe
Well,
he
that's like the
might
only one
not
they've made,
provide
though.
the scoring punch off the bench. But aside from that, Ibaka's better at everything. Ibaka can shoot. Ibaka's a much better defender. He wasn't exposed in the playoffs like that. He's not the same defender, but like, you know, for the same price, I think I would take Ibaka. Surge. So
Blocka.
what they still need is a facilitator. They should be calling Detroit right now and trying to figure out what they need to get Derrick Rose.
As much as
Even though the Derrick Rose Lou
I don't
Williams
believe
fit,
it.
the Derrick Rose Lou Williams fit might be weird. They also got Luke Kennard, but they definitely need a point guard still. Maybe Rose, maybe a more assisting guy. That's what they still need.
No, that's why they went after Reggie Jackson in the middle of the season and got him.
They haven't even re-signed him, and I don't think Reggie Jackson is exactly like that guy for them. You know what I mean?
I mean, I see your point, but still.
Reggie Jackson could be a dog, but I don't think I don't think he will be.
Alright, what other moves? I liked what the Jazz brought back Derek Favors, so they really don't have too much of a drop off whenever they have to put Rudy Gobert on the bench. So I liked that move. What else was there? The Nuggets.
Steven Adams for the Pelicans.
Well, the Pelicans, like we said, some interesting moves. They traded away. I think honestly, so they traded away Drew Holiday. They got a bunch of picks back. They got Steven Adams to replace.
I think they finished that trade, the Drew Holiday trade.
I don't know.
Well, didn't they get like 3 picks and 2 decent point guards?
Well, George Hill ain't that good, and they replaced him with Augustine anyway.
George Hill had the high.
And they're
George Hill
basically
had the high shooting percentage.
they're basically replacing Bledsoe with Holiday, which is an upgrade. I don't think, honestly, it's not too bad of a downgrade for the Pelicans though, because Eric Bledsoe plays pretty well in the playoffs. They're not, not in the playoffs. He plays terribly in the playoffs. He plays great in the regular season. So I think they'll still be fine in terms of that position. Steven Adams, they shouldn't have extended him, but I think he should be slightly better than Derek Favors.
And the Pelicans they signed Brandon Ingram to a deal today. Maximize him for 5 years, I think.
Right, yeah. So they brought him back too, of course. Like, that was always the plan. So I think I kind of liked what they did, but they're thinking at some point they got to start thinking of the present, because they got a lot of later picks from Drew Holiday. So we'll see what happens with that.
Probably the most controversial free agent signee of the weekend was Gordon Hayward to the Hornets. What do you guys think?
I think it's a bad signing, but it is at the same time. In terms of how much money they give him, I think they overpaid. Like, I like them bringing him in, but I think they could have got him for cheaper.
It's a slight overpay, but not as much as people are thinking, because the Pacers and the Celtics both offered him 4 years, $100+ million too. So it's not as much of an overpay. It's a decent move, but it's not one that's gonna suddenly put them like at the top of the East. So
Yeah, definitely. Milwaukee's still top of the East at the moment.
Otherwise, some other moves I like. What else was it? So I was talking about the Nuggets. So the Nuggets got worse. They got JaMychal Green, but they lost Jeremy Grant. They lost someone else. I can't remember who. But yeah, they kind of got a little worse. The Rockets are interesting. The Rockets are interesting because I'm assuming right now they're probably going to go into the season with Harden and Westbrook. They got rid of Covington.
I love the moves they've made.
They got rid of Covington.
Didn't they sign someone?
They signed Christian Wood. They signed Boogie
Christian Wood.
So it's interesting.
Christian Wood's an interesting player. I think he's pretty good. He could be smart.
Yeah.
Did you guys see his? Have you guys seen his stat line after the Andre Drummond trade?
Yeah, he was pretty damn good. Like.
So I like it. I think they made some good moves. But the thing is, can they keep? I think if I'm the trying to trade Russ, keep Harden.
Maybe, maybe. I would say otherwise in the West, I don't think the Rockets are a top team anymore. They're more to like fighting for the bottom.
I think we're still 4 to 6.
Maybe. Warriors got Kelly
Warriors, they bought
Oubre,
in.
Brad Wanamaker, Kent Bazemore. Those were some nice moves. Dallas, Dallas, they were mostly trading on draft night. I think we already talked about that, but I really like their team.
What do you think about John Wall demanding a trade? I mean, wanting out.
He's stupid because he hasn't played in 2 years, and there's really no reason for that to make any sense. So, nothing's gonna happen there. Alright, and then the last few moves there were, what else? The Hawks probably are a playoff team right now. Even though I want to say the Bulls are, the Hawks are probably a playoff team. Bogdanovich, Gallinari, Chris Dunn, Rajon Rondo. It's a lot of nice moves. Considering they were the only team with cap space, of course.
Other notable signees were few players got maximized over the weekend. Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell.
I don't know what the Pistons are doing. I don't know why they signed Jeremy Grant and Mason Plumlee, but you know.
They need some backups for their centers. They lost Christian Wood, so.
It was getting to the point where if you made fun of the Knicks last year for their power forwards, it's time to start making fun of the Pistons for their centers. Speaking of the
Knicks mostly stayed quiet. I think that was fine.
They made some like obviously no big splashes, but like, I think they made a couple of decent moves.
They're saving for Clay and Steph.
Celtics got Tristan Thompson.
They didn't do anything stupid.
I think the Celtics got Tristan Thompson. That was a nice move. 76ers.
Yeah, did they re-sign Daniel Tice or no?
They already had him. Yeah. 76ers,
Thompson, Tice.
76ers, had some nice moves during the draft. So I think the East is going to be really competitive. That's all I would say. Because everyone basically got better.
Whole league is probably competitive.
Is there any team in the NBA that you think got worse after the
Thunder, Spurs,
so far the offseason?
Thunder, Spurs, Kings. Magic, maybe the Magic. Rockets a little bit.
Yeah, the Rockets got better.
I don't know, man, because Covington's a big loss. And we don't know if Cousins is actually going to do anything. The Nuggets got worse.
Yeah, the Nuggets got worse because
But I think even if the Warriors aren't going to be title contenders this year, it's going to be a wide open year. So I'm excited to see. Alright, anything else today? I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah.
We'll be back with you on our next episode with our college basketball preview, probably tomorrow. For now, I'm signing off. Have a good one.